new stage of destiny.
Engage.
Hsu Hao.
So, Mortal Kombat has a pretty large, colorful cast of characters. Some that are really fucking cool, some that have really awesome designs, and some that you just have to scratch your head and go, was that an inside joke that they just really, really wanted to make into a thing that none of us will understand even to this day, even with the context? We have characters like
Nitara.
Basic Vampire Bitch,
Frost.
Female Sub-Zero,
Reptile.
who is one of the most lovable characters, who, let's not forget, used to talk like this.
Quan Chi, I have served our Lord Shinnok well in the destruction of Earth's warriors.
So, out of all of these characters, there is no other character that seems more infamous in the Mortal Kombat franchise than Hsu Hao. He is still being brought up by the fans and mocked by the creators to this day. So, on this edition of Fighter's Destiny, we will look into the development, the impact, and of course, the destiny of one
Hsu Hao.
Prepare yourself!
So, unless you've been living, like, under a rock for the past, I don't know, like, 30 years, Mortal Kombat's probably one of the greatest Western fighting games, like, ever made. I mean, Mortal Kombat transcends its genre. It's a cultural phenomenon. It's a game that's talked about even outside the realm of gaming in general.
Oh my god! You're from Mortal Kombat? I'm from a video game too! Tell me, what's your special move?
Get over here! Fatality.
It is basically all the blood-soaked fuel and adrenaline that youngsters of the 90s wanted to see packed into one cartridge or one arcade cabinet and just flung like a softball right into your face of being like, hey, do you want blood and guts kapow? You fucking get in Mortal Kombat, boy. We have a fucking ninja that has a skeleton head that has fire. I mean, like, it's probably one of the top 5 biggest fighting game franchises of all time. So, Mortal Kombat was primarily known as a 2D fighter that wanted to go into the realm of the 3D fighter that was being made popular by the game that first developed the idea of a 3D fighter, Virtual Fighter, and then later popularizing the idea into the franchise that we now know as Tekken. So, Mortal Kombat first started this idea with the game Mortal Kombat 4. That was 1, its last arcade release, and 2, its first ever 3D depiction of the franchise that had 3D models that didn't use real live action people that were motion captured and, you know, taken pictures of on the green screen and just, you know, put all that, you know, all that movie magic, stop motion, habada babada. So, Mortal Kombat 4 released, and it kind of showed where the direction of the new franchise was going in terms of the type of gameplay that it had. It had a little bit more of a weapon aspect where each character now had a weapon that they can use, sidestep and all that stuff, and it was a really big departure from what it originally was. So the game didn't exactly appeal to the hardcore audience, but it did appeal to that casual audience, including me, who thought that fucking Quan Chi had a really fucking awesome design. And also really loved those shitty, corny cutscenes.
The battle is finished. Your quest for vengeance is over, Scorpion.
Now we're going into the PlayStation 2 era, the Xbox era, and Mortal Kombat was about to make their new game, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, and it had been 5 years since the last installment of the franchise, and fans were eagerly awaiting the blood-soaked violence and return to form brought on by past games. And just like Mortal Kombat 4, many new characters were being designed and created to expand the Mortal Kombat mythos. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance had what's the best way to put it? An interesting cast of characters. So, out of all those characters I've already described, what kind of impact would a Mongolian military-looking man with a cybernetic laser cannon on his chest really put on the game that already has the guy that does motion capture called mocap being an unlockable secret character? What to say about Hsu Hao? Well, he actually has kind of an interesting, kind of detailed story to how he was being made. Oh yeah, he was just anti-Jax.
Hsu Hao is a Mongolian character who is originally designed to be the anti-Jax.
That's it. That is literally why he exists and why he is a thing. From the character's inception, he was designed to be the anti-Jax, the evil counterpart to him, much to the same vein as kind of Kano is the rival to Sonya Blade. But while Kano is this cool bounty hunter, crime syndicate villain with an optic laser eye, Hsu Hao looks like he's in the Chinese military and they just decided to craft a giant laser cannon on his chest. So, not a lot of information is known as to why Hsu Hao was originally named Kublai Khan, but the name could possibly be a reference to Bogd Khan, who was one of the third most influential Tibet Buddhists next to the Dalai Lama and the Panchen Lama. This is literally the only type of connection that I can give the two. His original design documents do mimic this name, as his outfit and sketched pose does resemble that of a monk. He seems to have much more of a warrior monk influence to his design. There's less of a militarized influence, where he's got some dots on his head. There's not a lot of cargo pants or cargo boots there. The only thing that is a constant in all these character sketches up to the point that he became Hsu Hao is the cybernetic implant that is on his chest, which is his cybernetic heart. That is the only constant out of all these sketches. These character proposals also included the Chinese flag next to them, as well as on the character himself, seen in some sketches where the Chinese flag stars are tattooed on his face and all that stuff. In later designs, Hsu Hao's outfit began to show more of a Chinese military look, with the addition of the combat boots, the combat pants, and the iconic Chinese military army hat that is on the head.
Superb!
Okay, so before I get into Hsu Hao's story, I just want to say that while most of what I'm going to say has been confirmed canon both in the stories, in cutscenes, and just told by the writers and creators themselves, I'm kind of going to be extrapolating and concluding some things that may not exactly have been confirmed to be canon, but kind of implied and kind of not implied. So just keep that in mind, that some of this is canon and some of this is canon that I feel is canon but not canon. I did air quotes. You didn't see that. Hsu Hao's story revolves around his work for the criminal organization known as the Red Dragon Clan, which is a crime syndicate formed by the half-Edenian god Dagon, who formed the clan shortly after the Great Kung Lao was defeated by the Shokan Prince Goro in Mortal Kombat. And these events would lead up to the first game in the franchise, where Goro has been the champion of Mortal Kombat for 500 years, and Earthrealm's in danger. Go get him, Liu Kang! So, the Red Dragon faction has existed for centuries, and their sole objective was to elevate their leader Dagon to godhood and conquer Earthrealm, which also included finding and killing his brother Taven, who was also tasked with kind of a similar goal to Dagon, due to the fact that Taven and Dagon are both the sons of the Edenian god Argus and the Edenian sorceress Delia, who had predicted that in the future the Mortal Kombat tournament would lead to an all-out annihilation of the realms based on the blood-fueled hatred and combat ferocity of all these combatants that had superpowers. I mean, you have gods, you have fallen elder gods, you have rulers of realms, you have all of this menagerie. It's gonna eventually probably lead to destruction of the realms. Hell, Shao Kahn's trying to put his big dick in every single realm that he could possibly think of. So, what was their plan to solve this issue in the future before Armageddon could happen? Argus wanted to get rid of them all. He just wanted to eradicate all the combatants. Delia, however, saw that there were some fighters like Liu Kang, Raiden, Kung Lao, stuff like that were heroes and not deserving of such death. So, because they couldn't settle this amongst themselves like adults, they decided to bring their 2 children into the matter and cryogenically freeze them so that they could do battle against a super-powered fire spawn created by Delia named Blaze, who would guard and watch over the realms until such time as Armageddon was going to happen, and then send the message to their dragons, Karo and Orin, to awaken the 2 so they could go on a quest to find armor, their weapon of choice, and to find the fire spawn Blaze to do battle with him, and whoever would win would decide which fate the combatants would have.
Like a coin toss, one side would disarm the warriors, the other would destroy them all.
But also what would happen is when Blaze was defeated, whoever defeated Blaze would obtain the power of a god. It also leaves into the fact that if Taven and Dagon don't get to Blaze, whoever defeats Blaze becomes even more powerful and becomes a god. And don't worry, that blows up in their face, and we will get to that. So Dagon prematurely awoke. Because of this, he kind of went crazy in the membrane and was like, what am I doing? I want to see mother and father now. So he goes to see Argus and Delia and is told about the quest and the purpose of the quest. Presumably, it's not really said for sure, but whatever is said angers him, and he just decides to kill Argus and Delia. How he does this is not sure. Even Taven's like, how does a half-god defeat a god and a powerful sorceress? That doesn't exactly make sense. So Dagon destroys them. So throughout these centuries where after he's killed Argus and Delia, he decides, okay, I'm going to form this Red Dragon clan that will help me in my ambitions and my goals, and help me find the Fire Spawn Blaze, and also find Taven to both kill and destroy him, so that way he won't interrupt my plans for greatness. So, the clan included many fierce fighters like Mavado, one of the other newest additions to the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance game.
Mavado.
A leader of the Red Dragon clan, Mavado has undertaken a ruthless campaign of extermination against his rivals, the Black Dragon. Scouring the realms for his sworn enemies, Mavado vows that he will not rest until every last trace of the Black Dragon has been erased.
Mavado is basically the general of the Red Dragon clan. He is Dagon's right-hand man. If Dagon tells Mavado to get on one knee and stroke his dick, Mavado better get to stroke. So the clan included many other reckless and dangerous members who later would become dissatisfied with the faction and their roles within it, and would break away from it and form the Black Dragon clan, who would be led by Kano. So the Red Dragon clan helped form the Black Dragon clan because they were a criminal syndicate, and the Black Dragon were probably like, I don't care about you though, we just want to commit petty crimes. Come on gang, let's get out of here and perform petty crime. I don't care about this mumbo jumbo about all this god shit. And I'm assuming that Kano was in the Red Dragon Clan and was one of the defectors that led the charge to rebel and leave the Red Dragon Clan to form the Black Dragon Clan. So since then, the clan has also had the additional mission of finding and dismantling the rogue Black Dragon Clan, in addition to helping Dagon achieve god status. Hsu Hao's origins in joining the Red Dragon Clan are really unknown. There is nothing, absolutely nothing known about Hsu Hao's past before he joins the Red Dragon Clan. The only thing that we're told is he joins the Red Dragon Clan and has a sense of unrelenting loyalty toward Movado and the Red Dragon Clan. But that's it. We're not given anything else. Even his cybernetic implant, the only thing that we're given is that it's the same person that gave Kano his bionetic eye. He's the same guy that also implanted Hsu Hao's artificial heart. So the only thing that we know about him is that he's known as the Doctor. And the only other information that we have on the Doctor is in Cabal's ending in Mortal Kombat 9. It's mentioned that Cabal tracks down Kano to learn the whereabouts of the Good Doctor, who developed Kano's eye laser. And it's implied that he possibly demands a considerable price to Cabal for giving him like some type of implant. And Cabal has to repay him by doing some bad things in order to get the Good Doctor's help. So that's the only thing that we know about the Good Doctor. We know nothing else. We don't know what his origin is. We don't know where he's from or any of that stuff. And based on how he appears in the cutscene, there's two logical connections that he may have. One, he could be connected to Shang Tsung and his experiments in like the flesh pits that resulted in the creation of meat. Or more plausibly, he's a scientist that works for the Red Dragon. You see, the Red Dragon seems more probable based on the events that were happening in the Armageddon story. In Armageddon, the Red Dragon were experimenting on their members and prisoners like Kano by merging the DNA of Dagon's now captive dragon guardian Karo and Reptile's genetic material in an effort to create real-life genetically engineered dragons and dragonoid human hybrids, and that the clan was planning on trying something new on him. So the Red Dragon were doing these weird, quirky, creepy experiments, so it would only make sense that they would have a cyberneticist that can do these things. It also goes back to Kano knowing someone that would have these capabilities to help him have his bionic eye, since he was a former member of the Red Dragon clan. As I said before, Hsu Hao doesn't really have anything really known about him in terms of backstory. It's just he's a part of the Red Dragon and that's it. He would eventually join the Red Dragon clan and join their ranks. He proved himself to be a very skilled fighter during his training with Movado to join the clan, and he impressed the Red Dragon general with his mastery of the clan's basic fighting styles of Hsu Hao, Chow, and wrestling. So, his cybernetic heart, which is both his life support and his source of power. This cybernetic implant gives him superhuman strength as well as supernatural powers. Supernatural powers such as creating powerful gusts of wind with the clap of his hands, to bouncing projectile fireballs that he can bounce off the ground.
His two moves that he had was he had this big clap move that I had seen in a number of kind of comic books with superheroes that I always thought would be a cool thing to have in a fighting game.
This is the childlike wonder of Ed Boon and how he comes to create the things that he does. And also, in terms of the bouncing projectile fireball thing, why he doesn't just throw the fireball like a softball at his enemies? I don't know. He could throw them, but not. He just is content with bouncing those fireballs. So, as his training went on with the Red Dragon clan, he was given a choice of weapons from the huge weapon supply that the Red Dragon had housed in their Charred Mountain facility. And his choice of weapon was the Sun Moon Blade. Now, I know what you're thinking. These can't be real blades that actually exist in the realms of reality. No, they actually do exist. They are an exotic weapon from Chinese martial arts, and they have origins from Mongolia. As a pair, these bladed weapons can be extremely efficient when used in combat. When one hand blocks an incoming attack from a weapon, it can catch the weapon and keep it from attacking, or it can be used to disarm the opponent completely. However, the true beauty of this weapon comes into play when one notices that the other hand is left free to attack. This is when the versatility of the Sun Moon Blades really shines. You see, shine with the sun. With the ability to thrust, stab, slash, or rake an opponent in the eyes, like the dirty heel that he is, the Sun Moon Blade's deadly qualities are easy to see, and quite beautiful. And his technique with the blades was almost on par with Movado, which greatly impressed Movado. After completing his training with Movado, Hsu Hao was assigned his first mission to infiltrate the Special Forces by posing as a former member of a secret Chinese military group and feed them information about their rival clan, the Black Dragon, to help the Special Forces in destroying the clan. Basically, he was like, hey Hsu Hao, go feed these guys information so they could take down the Black Dragon clan, so we could put our feet up and laugh maniacally as they do our job for us. So, who are the Special Forces, you may ask? Well, I'll simplify it for you. The Special Forces are a military defense force created by the United States to stop international crime gangs, like the Black Dragon, and would later expand their mission statement to defending Earthrealm from any and all threats from other dimensional invasions. What does that mean? Well, when Shao Kahn decided, hey, I want to have Earthrealm in Outworld, they were like, no! And the government was probably like, we should probably have something to combat this in the future. And Sony was like, I got you, President. And so, Special Forces were given that. Hsu Hao easily joined their ranks, impressing Jax and Sonya with his fighting skills, commissioned as a free agent and slowly gained more and more favor in the organization, capturing various members of the Black Dragon clan, all leading up to the final member of the clan, Jarek, being disposed of and seemingly annihilating all the members of the clan.
The Black Dragon died with Kano. You're the last one, Jarek.
Never!
Yeah, it all comes together. That's why Mortal Kombat has the most cohesive story. It's not the best. Sometime later, after all of that, he reported his success to Movado and asked what is next. Movado instructed Hsu Hao to remain undercover until further notice. Hsu Hao would be recruited as one of the members of the Outworld Investigation Agency, along with new recruits Kenshi and Cyrax. So, what is the Outworld Investigation Agency? Well, it's just basically the Special Forces with the goal of monitoring the other realms and gathering information on possible future threats to the safety of Earthrealm. Its formation probably was spurred on by the constant invasion and threats from Shao Kahn and other powerful warriors outside of Earthrealm. Makes sense. Short time after being recruited, Hsu Hao received new orders from Movado, instructing him to destroy the Outworld Investigation Agency's ability to travel to Outworld and rendezvous with Movado after his completion. So, the Outworld Investigation Agency basically had stargates that helped them travel in between Earthrealm and the other realm. They probably got help from Raiden. Raiden's really close with Sonya and Jax. So why was he instructed to destroy the Outworld Investigation Agency's way to travel through the realm? So the reasoning behind this order was that the Red Dragon had formed a new alliance with Quan Chi and Shang Tsung with the offer of giving the clan sanctuary during their coming invasion of Earthrealm. Armed with an ion pulse bomb, Hsu Hao made his way to the underground bunker of the OIA where the inter-realm portals were being housed, set up the bomb to detonate, and opened up the portal to Outworld to meet up with Movado.
And wait for all this to blow over.
Just before he could make his escape, Jax saw this fucker doing some shenanigans and was like, "What are you doing, traitor?" and barreled into the chamber to confront Hsu Hao. Caught in the act, Hsu Hao fought off Jax and managed to escape, throwing a grenade at the explosive device and jumping through the portal to Outworld, along with Jax, who followed in pursuit. All of the portals that OIA had are just destroyed now because he successfully did his job. Jax later ran into Movado in Outworld while Movado was searching for Kenshi to defeat him. Also another order from Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, because Kenshi was also a threat and a part of the Special Forces, so they wanted him out of the picture as well. Movado then met up with Hsu Hao after completing his task on eliminating Kenshi and the two made their way back to the Deadly Alliance to tell them of their success. But unbeknownst to Movado, he had failed in his mission, and Kenshi did survive his encounter with the Red Dragon General. And that's the most you're ever going to get from a Hsu Hao story again.
Much to my dismay.
So, after meeting with the Deadly Alliance, Hsu Hao and Movado, I want to assume, just stay back and helped guard the Deadly Alliance while they finish up their plans to resurrect the Dragon King's undead army. So, in the main canon of the Mortal Kombat story, according to Jax's ending in the arcade mode of the game,
Jax had a score to settle with the traitor he knew as Hsu Hao. Now revealed to be a member of the Red Dragon, Hsu Hao had infiltrated the Special Forces Outer World Investigation Agency and destroyed it with a miniature nuclear weapon. Making good on his promise, Jax eventually caught up with Hsu Hao and ripped the implant from his chest in retribution. Hsu Hao died a most painful death.
And according to John Vogel, who is one of the Mortal Kombat lead story writers, this would have been Hsu Hao's definitive end in the Mortal Kombat mythos. But in Hsu Hao's ending,
it seemed that Quan Chi was proving to be a powerful ally and was willing to aid the Red Dragon in its quest for domination of Earth. In a show of good faith, Movado agreed to destroy Quan Chi's enemies. The sorcerer suspected betrayal from Shang Tsung. There was evidence that Shang Tsung had allied with the two Oni, known as Moloch and Ramen. Hsu Hao's new orders were to eliminate the sorcerer Shang Tsung before the Oni eliminated Quan Chi.
it's not really said whether or not he succeeded in his mission. I mean, I don't think Hsu Hao is going to have much of a chance against Shang Tsung. But it's unlikely due to also the events of the Dragon King's return.
But it is said that there is only one true ruler of Outworld. And that ruler had returned. Onaga, former Emperor of Outworld, the Dragon King. The prophecy had been fulfilled. The Dragon King had indeed returned to Outworld to reclaim his army and impose his dominance. Death awaited all who stood in his way. And so it was that a new alliance was formed out of desperation. Sworn enemies joined forces to combat a greater threat. Raiden began to realize that even their combined might was not enough to defeat the Dragon King. There was only one chance left. Raiden's sacrifice was in vain, for the blast had little effect on the Dragon King. Now Onaga has what he needs to shape the realms as he sees fit, born of deception.
I want to say the main canon ending would be Hsu Hao's instead of Jax's, because Hsu Hao would be returning in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Because Mortal Kombat Armageddon is the game where everyone comes back and everyone gets revived to have a major brawl for all, and for the game's tagline to be every single Mortal Kombat character is in this game. And I was sold on it. I don't know about you.
For the first time, select from more than 50 unique characters representing the entire Mortal Kombat fighting legacy. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, coming fall 2006. This title not yet rated.
Wow, there is a lot to interpret with all of this stuff in there. So, where else would Hsu Hao make his appearance? Well, and there's your answer. Hsu Hao would make his next appearance in the Mortal Kombat franchise in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Tournament Edition for the Game Boy Advance, where his story, character, and appearance are basically the same, because the game is just pretty much a port to the Game Boy Advance. I mean, it's remade and it has like 2 to 3 additional characters, but they don't even have a bearing on the overall story, nor a bearing on Hsu Hao's story in general. So, he was in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Tournament Edition, but he relatively stayed the same.
Fatality. Hsu Hao wins. Fatality. Hsu Hao wins. Fatality.
He also makes a cameo appearance in the Conquest mode of Mortal Kombat Deception. He can be found in Edenia and asks Shujinko to help him find work as an assassin in exchange for a finder's fee.
You are the one known as Shujinko. Greetings. I am Hsu Hao. I am an assassin and have been searching for someone in need of my talents. Find me employment, and I will pay you a finder's fee.
Shujinko then encounters Mavado, who has interest in using his talents in infiltrating the Special Forces, and tells Shujinko that he will meet him behind the Indenian Palace.
You know of an assassin for hire? I have been searching for such a man to use in infiltrating the Special Forces in Earthrealm. I am Mavado. Tell this Hsu Hao to meet me near the waterfall behind the palace.
Hsu Hao accepts this, and it is assumed that the two meet and make out super hard behind the Edenian Palace, and they both become best bosom buddies and become the Red Dragon.
You have found work for me? Excellent. I will meet Mavado. Here is your commission.
This is probably not canonical, as I don't know how Mavado or Hsu Hao would be in Edenia. So this, to me, is kind of like a non-canonical type of way that they would meet up. It really doesn't make sense. Also, wow, that really adds to Hsu Hao's story. Hey man, I'm looking for work. Can you help find me work? Oh, you found me work? Awesome, thanks bro. Like, what the fuck? He's also referenced in the Chaos Realm in the Conquest mode of Deception by the NPCs. Everyone in the Chaos Realm has this distorted speech to them, but it's actually revealed that they're just speaking backwards, and if you rewind it and play it forwards, you can actually interpret what they're saying. One of the interactions reveals that one of them is saying,
"Will Hsu Hao return from the dead? Probably not."
Though this is kind of ironic because he would return in the next edition of the franchise.
Much to my dismay.
There have been many powerful warriors throughout the millennia.
But ages of mortal combat have begun to tear the fabric of the realms. The critical point has finally been reached. It was foreseen that combatants would one day grow too powerful and too numerous. If left unchecked, their intensifying combat would weaken and shatter the realms and bring about the apocalypse. The Elder Gods demanded a safeguard be put in place to avoid total destruction. One that would make use of the combatants' insatiable bloodlust. Like moths to flame, they would be drawn to battle at the apex of destruction. Alliances will be broken. And old hatreds will be revived.
So Hsu Hao would make his final video game appearance in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. It's also worth noting that many Mortal Kombat fighters would make their last video game appearance in Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Hsu Hao.
Hsu Hao's strength is matched only by his treachery. For years, this Red Dragon spy worked as a member of the Outworld Investigation Agency alongside Sonya and Jax. Upon receiving orders from Movado, Hsu Hao revealed himself as betrayer and destroyed the headquarters of OIA.
Hsu Hao is one of the Red Dragon clan, so he is definitely one of the bad guys. In Jax's ending, Hsu Hao gets killed. Jax rips his heart out, and we were fully prepared to say, yes, that really did happen. He's dead and he's gone. But Mortal Kombat Armageddon is about bringing every character back to life, so Hsu Hao is back, much to my dismay.
In the conquest mode of the game, that focuses on Taven and Dagon and gives a little bit more information as to Dagon's leadership of the Red Dragon Clan and the goings-on of the Red Dragon Clan in general, Hsu Hao makes no appearance, but Movado does. So, no love for Hsu Hao, just Movado. So with that being said, it's likely assumed that Hsu Hao would probably be gathering intelligence from Movado in regards to the location of Blaze, who Dagon and Taven were tasked in defeating to stop the events of Armageddon. In Hsu Hao's ending,
killed in the shockwave of Blaze's violent death, Hsu Hao's corrupt soul descended into the Netherrealm. As his soul began to regain a physical body, Hsu Hao became his true self, a demon of emptiness and desolation. Leading an Oni horde, he defeated Shinnok and his minions. He now sits upon the throne of the Netherrealm.
this ending is of course completely non-canon, as well as being fucking stupid, as the writers of Mortal Kombat clearly had no further plans for this character and were done with him after Deadly Alliance in terms of canonical story. How do you go from a Mongolian militarized man with a laser cannon on his chest to just being an Oni? They even poke fun at Hsu Hao, describing his character being a demon of emptiness and desolation. Basically describing his character to a T. His character is an empty blanket and an empty blank space that you can just tell, go do that thing I tell you to. Why do you do that? I don't fucking know. So, you know what? It would be a fitting end for Hsu Hao. So, it's assumed that he just dies during the final battle atop the pyramid, as he's shown in the game's intro battling Kenshi, as well as possibly Kai. I mean, it's such for a short time, and I had to slow-mo it. And the guy that he's battling kind of looks like Kai. So, yeah, that is basically the end of Hsu Hao's shit. So, what happens after this? Well, in Mortal Kombat 9, basically, Ed Boon hit the reset button.
It is done. Your time has passed.
Blaze was no match for Shao Kahn the Conqueror. His strength increased tenfold. The forces of light could not fend off his final invasion as he merged each realm with Outworld. But his ultimate triumph was soon to be his downfall. With nothing left to conquer, Shao Kahn was driven to madness.
Yes. Praise the world. As your
He must win.
We go all the way back in time to the events of Mortal Kombat 1, and everything gets flipped turned upside down, and we take a minute and we reset everything about Mortal Kombat and undo all the mistakes that we've done in the past. So, would this probably mean that Hsu Hao does not even exist? Well, let me tell you, boy, Hsu Hao makes his last and final appearance as of now in the comic to go alongside the release of the latest Mortal Kombat installment, Mortal Kombat X. In the first issue, Hsu Hao is ordered by Dagon to pursue and kill Kenshi for his actions in infiltrating his clan after being told by Sonya Blade that his son, Takari Takahishi's life was being threatened by the clan. He chased the blind swordsman to the Himalayan mountains where he beat the swordsman down to a bloody pulp, and before Hsu Hao could strike the final finishing blow on Kenshi, Scorpion comes out of nowhere and pierces his cybernetic heart with his spear, as Kenshi had led the clan toward the Shiraryu's temple, hoping to alert the attention of Scorpion's clan, or Scorpion himself, so he could fuck the Red Dragon shit up. And his plan went off without a hitch. The spear pulls Hsu Hao towards Scorpion, and with a concentrated fistful of hellfire and brimstone, his skull is pierced with the impact of Scorpion's fist, killing Hsu Hao instantly. And with that, that is officially, as of now, the canonical end of our boy,
Hsu Hao.
Man, for a character that people don't think got a lot of time, he's got some fucking things going on. There's not a lot, but he did actually get some play from Deadly Alliance up until now. Since his appearance in Mortal Kombat, Hsu Hao has been the biggest running joke of the franchise, both from fans and his own creator. In a Game Informer article titled "The Top 10 Things You Don't Know About Ed Boon," Ed Boon stated that his least favorite characters are both Draman and Hsu Hao, and that their chances of returning were not very high. Ed Boon also replies to people on Twitter that ask, will Hsu Hao be a thing? And he always immediately replies, no, he's not ever coming back. Never, ever, ever. So, what is the destiny of Hsu Hao? I don't know. Number one, I don't think he's going to be a major player at all canonically in terms of the actual story. I do think that he'll be a running joke in terms of maybe one-liners that good guy characters make on shitty villains. I still think that he'll be talked about by Ed Boon, its creators, and fans until the end of time, and I don't think that Hsu Hao will ever be forgotten in the fandom of Mortal Kombat. But in terms of being an actual playable character in Mortal Kombat, probably not. So, where is Hsu Hao now? A person has created a Mugen character of Hsu Hao that is playable in Mortal Kombat. I believe the game is Annihilation or something like that. He's in a bunch of builds of Mortal Kombat Mugen games. And the only other thing that I found is kind of cool and funny about Hsu Hao is there's a YouTube channel where a kid pretends to be Hsu Hao and also pretends that Hsu Hao is a chef.
Get out of the show! 0, 0, 0! Get out! 0! Out!
Who creates delicious delicacies in his kitchen with the camera that his parents may or may not have bought him for $50 at a Circuit City way back when. So that's the legacy of Hsu Hao. That's the destiny of Hsu Hao. Hsu Hao is destined to be nothing more than a running joke in the Mortal Kombat mythos. And you know what? I think that's just about fine.